A quorum being present, we will now consider, the committee will come to order. We will now consider the report. The report, which was first circulated on Monday, is in each of your folders. Pursuant to the House rules, a report is considered as read, and the clerk will now designate the report.
Pseudo-classification of executive branch documents, problems with the Transportation Security Administration's use of the Sensitive Security Information, SSI, Designation Committee report.
Without objection, the report will be considered as read and open for amendment. On May 29, 2014, Ranking Member Cummings and I released a joint staff report documenting the committee's investigation into problems with TSA's use of the SSI, or Sensitive Security Information designation. The report contains our investigatory findings and recommendation. The report was released in conjunction with a Government Operations Subcommittee hearing held by Mr. Mica. That hearing examined misuse of the SSI designation, explored the improvements TSA has made in handling SSI and educating agency staff, and addressing the labeling of non-classified information throughout the Federal Government. Today we seek to make the report a committee report. Pursuant to the Air Transportation Security Act of 1974, the Federal Aviation Administration created Sensitive Security Information, or SSI, as it is commonly called, a category of sensitive but unclassified information. It is important to note that we are not referring to classified information. We are strictly in the realm of unclassified information. SSI designation is a pseudo-classification, and it is not afforded the same protection as other classified information, such as secret or top-secret information. SSI regulations restrict the disclosure of information designated as SSI because public disclosure would be detrimental to transportation security. When used properly, the SSI designation protects sensitive information from public disclosure, which would be detrimental to certain security interests. Because SSI is an internal TSA pseudo-classification, however, the potential for misuse of this designation does exist. Bipartisan concerns about the TSA's use or misuse of SSI designations have existed since the promulgation of the regulation in 2004. Following a congressional request to review how TSA used its SSI authority to withhold information from the public, GAO released a report in 2005 finding TSA lacked adequate internal controls to provide reasonable assurance that the agency is applying the SSI designation consistently. On July 2011, DHS Deputy General Counsel Joseph Maher alleged that Subcommittee Chairman Jason Chaffetz had unlawfully released portions of a DHS PowerPoint presentation designated as SSI during a National Security, Homeland Defense, and Foreign Operations Subcommittee hearing. I responded to the allegation to then DHS Secretary Napolitano, explaining that Congress is not covered by the regulation concerning SSI protection. Such lack of understanding or disregard for the SSI designation at the highest level of DHS was concerning. The subsequent exchange between the committee and DHS prompted a whistleblower at TSA to contact the committee with information regarding the misuse of SSI designation by political staff at the TSA. Our committee, perhaps more than any other, relies on whistleblowers at Federal departments and agencies to identify waste, fraud, and abuse. As a result, the committee conducted transcribed interviews with current and former TSA SSI office staff and obtained hundreds of pages of documents responsive to formal document requests made to TSA. The witness testimony and documents show the TSA officials manipulated SSI designation to prevent the release of non-SSI documents. This was against the advice of TSA's SSI office, whose mission is to evaluate information to determine whether it qualifies as SSI. TSA also released SSI documents against the advice of career staff of the SSI office. While the TSA administrator has the final authority to determine whether information is SSI, under the regulation, the administrator must submit written explanations of SSI decisions to the SSI office in a timely fashion. Unfortunately, repeatedly, they failed at TSA to submit written documentation supporting the release or withholding of SSI, and this caused a rift between senior TSA leadership and the SSI office. This rift resulted in inconsistent application of the SSI designation, such inconsistencies have proven detrimental to the process of protecting sensitive transportation information. As a result, the Committee's investigation, TSA has made changes and improvements in its processing and handling of SSI information. But TSA's handling of sensitive or SSI information reveals a broader problem of pseudo-classification. The pseudo-classification information across the Federal departments and agencies are of a broad concern that agencies are using pseudo-classification designation to make it difficult for requesters to acquire unclassified information. This raises the possibility that officials may use such information labeling to control the release of non-classified information for political reasons. Limits on such pseudo-classification are needed to provide greater transparency and accountability to the public while promoting information security. This report exposes the improper use of SSI designation at TSA. I hope the agency continues to make the process in improving the SSI program. Additionally, with this report, we hope to improve transparency by curtailing the use of non-classified information labels in executive branch documents and agencies in order to withhold certain information from the public. I would like to again thank the staffs of both the majority and minority and my ranking member, Mr. Cummings, for his insistence in preparing this bipartisan committee report, and I recognize the ranking member.
Mr. Chairman, I support the committee's adoption of this report. I appreciate your cooperation in working with me and my staff to make this report a truly bipartisan effort. This committee has a long-standing interest in the use of pseudo-classification terms such as sensitive but unclassified and sensitive security information. The committee's investigation into the Transportation Security Administration's procedures for designating and releasing sensitive security information identified areas in need of improvement. For example, under the Bush administration, TSA withheld information designated as SSI against the advice of the agency's own SSI office. Following our investigation, TSA made improvements to its processes. This report makes further suggestions for reform and highlights the need for all Federal agencies to reduce the use of pseudo-classifications. I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. I will hold the record open until the end of the day so that any member who wishes to may submit a written statement. Does any member further wish to speak on the report? Does any member wish to offer an amendment? If there is no further discussion, I move the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform report to the House the report. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. In the opinion of the Chair, the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The committee will now consider the following postal namings en bloc: H.R. 78, H.R. 2819, H.R. 3957, H.R. 4443, H.R. 4651, H.R. 4919, H.R. 4939, H.R. 5019, H.R. 5030, and H.R. 5106. It is the Chair's intention to consider these bills by unanimous consent. Does any member wish to speak on the bills?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman is recognized.
Chairman, we have reviewed the Post Office naming bills before us, and I agree that these bills meet the committee's requirements. I support these bills and yield back the balance of my time.
I thank the gentleman. Any additional member wish to speak? If not, I ask unanimous consent the committee favorably report the aforementioned bills. Without objection, they are reported. The committee stands adjourned.